Yo, what's up guys? Today, it's the first video of a new era. An era where I will come back with better videos than ever before. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to make a very nice Mo Salah artwork in Photoshop. For this special back again video, I have something special at the end for everyone, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to stay notified of new content at all times. But without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into it. So first of all, let's get a nice picture of the subject that we're gonna use, and the way that I do that all the time is just go to Footy Renders, because right there you can find the best renders of the select footballer. Let's just go to footyrenders.com and let's right now find a nice picture. You can always select a picture of like on the main side, but you can also just search for a player or a team. And right now you see the most popular players, which are obviously the best to make artworks from. And right now you see Mo Salah, so let's click on that. And let's right now find a nice picture. I like this one of him, so I'm just gonna select that one already. And I like this picture as well. So let's right now go ahead and download these pictures. Let's right now get into Photoshop and let's make a new document with these dimensions. And let's click create. Let's right now bring our two pictures of Mo Salah into Photoshop so we can edit him. Alright, this is pretty nice. Let's place it something like this. I'm going to use a second picture after, but right now I think that I will start with this one. Let's just start with adding some shadows on the ground so he has something that he can stand on, because right now he's floating and yeah, we just don't want that. So the way we do that is just select a new color fill layer. Let's click Command or Control I to flip the layer around. And let's right now take the brush tool. And let's just make it a lot smaller. Put the flow to around 100%. And let's make the first hard shadow. Okay, this is not right. Let's adjust the brush a little bit more. Maybe make it a bit bigger as well. Something like this should work. Alright, that looks a lot better already. Not perfect, but we will fix that later. Let's right now make the brush a lot bigger. And let's turn the flow to around 80%. Even less, maybe 40. Yeah, that looks better. And let's make it even bigger. And let's put it on 20%. Let's make it bigger. Let's also make a shadow right here, because otherwise it would look like that feet is floating. Let's make it even bigger and let's turn the flow to 10%. And right now the biggest shadow, let's put it to 600 pixels. And let's just click a couple of times so it really looks like he's standing on the ground. You see the before and after. It really adds something to the whole of the picture. Let's right now add some shadows to him, because right now, yeah, it's just really flat and we don't want that. So simply just add some shadows using an exposure layer. Let's make it really dark, almost near black. Let's clip it to the layer down below. Let's turn it around with Command or Control I. And let's right now take a brush tool. And let's simply paint some of the areas back where we want the shadow to appear, because right now we made the highlights come from the right and the shadows are going to the left. So let's right now make the left side of him a little bit darker as well. Let's put a decent flow. Let's make a little bit high of shadows first. Something like this should work. Let's make a global shadow. After this we will make a harder shadow, but right now it's just about the whole of the picture. You don't have to worry about anything yet, we can always adjust it later. I want something like right here as well, in his neck. Alright, that looks pretty decent already. Let's make it a bit more subtle. Let's put it to 8%. Let's make it a bit bigger. Alright, let's right now add some shadows to this leg as well. Of course, the bottom of his foot, yeah, it doesn't get any sunlight, so it has to be almost near black. And let's right now add some shadows right here as well. You don't really see much difference while you're doing it, but if you click this layer on and off, you can see it does something. Let's make some shadows right here as well, because this won't be getting as much light, since the light source will be coming from the left. Let's keep on adding some shadows to his arm as well. Alright, his neck and his shoulders. And I want his leg to have some shadows as well. So this, let's turn it off and on. And you can see it also adds some depth to the whole of the picture, and that's what we're aiming for. Let's make it a lot bigger, because right now his leg, yeah, it just seems pretty weird. So let's put the flow to around 2% and let's simply paint some of it away, so it has a little bit more of a subtle effect. Even more. Alright, this looks pretty decent. Let's right now add some highlights to the opposite side, of course, because we don't want it to be as black as it is right now. The way we do that is just with an exposure layer. Let's make it really bright. Let's clip it to the layer down below using this button. And let's right now turn this mask around with Command or Control I. Let's bring up our layers panel, and this is a secret trick. Let's first of all disable our layer mask, and let's click Alt on this button. Let's slide it all the way, or even just a little bit over to the right. Something like this looks perfect. Let's enable our layer mask again. And let's right now start painting again. Let's make the flow a little bit higher, so we will get a nice effect. Alright, let's make some highlights over here on his arm as well. Alright, I want a little bit of shadow over here. And let's put some highlights on his belly as well. On his leg, that will be casting light as well. Put the flow a little bit higher. Alright, not that much, of course. Let's put the flow at around 20%. Be sure you have white selected while you're painting, because otherwise you won't be painting nothing. Alright, that looks pretty nice. Let's make it bigger, and let's put the flow at around, let's say, 3%. And let's start painting a little bit of the global highlights. And let's see what that does to the whole of the picture. You see, it really gives some depth. Maybe it's a little bit too intense on his face, so let's simply brush some of it away. Let's see before and after. It just really does something. So right now I want to try something nice, and I think that will look awesome. Let's simply grab our ellipse tool, and let's just go over the ball. Something like this. Alright. I want the fill to be not black and white, of course. I want it to reflect the colors of his shirt, kind of. So I want kind of this yellow. Of course, be sure to have him selected. Let's try something yellow, orangey, pinky even. And let's try something a little bit of darker red. Alright, I like that a lot. Let's just add a gradient map. Not to everything, of course, just to the circle. Right now the highlight is a little bit off, so let's go to our ellipse panel. Let's choose fill and let's choose the way that we want to appear. It's not changing. Oh, of course, you have to select the ellipse tool before you can adjust anything. So let's kind of choose something like this. Yeah, this looks nice. Let's turn back on our gradient. Because right now we see the ball, of course, but let's right now just make a layer mask and just adjust the hardness of our brush tool. Put the flow to 100%. Be sure to paint with black and let's simply paint the ball away. Alright, so right now you get the effect of like he's touching like this colorful ball. But to make it even more atmospheric and let's bring it really into the scene, we're also going to add some highlights and shadows to that as well. So first of all, we need some shadows. Be sure to add it to clip it to the layer down below, holding the Alt button. Let's turn around the mask. Let's paint with a very soft brush. Let's put the flow to 1% and just simply paint some of the shadows that we want to see. I also want a little bit harsher shadow, so let's downsize the brush and let's make it 10%. So you really get a nice hard shadow at the bottom. You see the before and after. Let's right now do the same, but for a little bit of highlights. Let's choose the white color. Let's choose a white color. Clip it to the layer down below. Turn it around. Let's first start with a hard highlight, something like that. And let's right now make a little bit of a more global one. Let's put the flow to like 2% and just paint a global highlight. Alright, I think this already looks kind of nice. I think it's really got some depth into it. But I just don't like the way that it looks. I think the white background, yeah, I don't like it at all. So let's just choose something that fits the atmosphere a little bit more. So I kind of like the red of his shirt and we have it selected already. So let's just make a new solid color. Something like this. I think even a little shade darker would look nice. But first of all, I will add a camera raw filter to our main subject to really expand it more into our environment. Alright, so right now we're into our camera raw and let's just add a little bit of clarity to the whole of the picture. You see, that really gives some more contrast and that's what we're aiming for. So right now we got this, and I already like this kind of with the camera raw filter on him as well. But I also want some depth into our atmosphere, and the way that I'm going to do that is just add a new black color. Let's turn it around and let's make our brush really big, and let's simply, with a flow of like 2%, let's make it even bigger to around 700 pixels. And let's just simply paint a nice atmospheric shadow into our scene. Because that way you can see the before and after. It really adds a little bit of depth in your artwork. It's always a nice idea to integrate it. And I already like it a lot more right now. But right now I also want a highlight. And we're just going to do that the same way we did our shadow. Let's add a new white color, let's turn it around, and let's simply paint and a little highlight. Alright, I already kind of like this, but I want to add a couple of more things. Alright, first of all, I want to integrate the stadium of Liverpool as well, so let's just search for Anfield. Let's go to images and let's find a nice picture of the stadium. I kind of like this because it has like this futuristic effect to it, but I really like this one. So I'm just going to download this picture, let's save it, and let's right now drag it into Photoshop. Alright, so right now we got our stadium in our artwork. Of course I don't want it like this, so let's simply grab our pen tool and let's go around the edge of the stadium. This does not have to be really precise, because it's more going to be like some kind of extra subtle detail instead of just making it the head of our artwork. Because right now I kinda like the Salah artwork already, but I just want to make it even better, and the way that we're going to do that is to integrate the stadium. I already kind of made like an old Salah artwork already. If you guys have not seen that already, there's a link in the description, or I will make a pop-up right now. Let's just go ahead and click it after this video, of course. So you see, this does not have to take a whole lot of time. It doesn't really matter if it's not perfect, but you guys get the idea of where I want to go. So let's right now make a selection. Let's make a mask, and right now we got the stadium cut out. Alright, so let's right now position the stadium like we want it to appear. I kinda like it right there. Let's put it behind of our subject. I'm just going to add a gradient map to it. I want it to be black and white, so let's just change the colors. And let's clip it to the layer down below. It's not perfect right now, so let's just add a camera raw filter to the stadium. I want it to be like only the outlines of the artwork. So the way that we're going to do that is decreasing the contrast. Let's add a lot of highlights and a lot of shadows and a lot of clarity. Right now it looks really bad, but no worries. It will look a lot better once we add a little bit of curve. So first of all, I want to make the highlights curve really high, and let's make the shadow curve also really high. Kind of like this maybe. Yeah, let's try that. So you see that it adds a lot of depth. So let's select both layers right now. Let's turn it into a smart object, and let's right now choose the blend mode multiply. Alright, let's decrease the fill a little bit maybe, because right now it's really hard, and let's make it to around 20 or 30%. Yeah, I kinda like that. Let's position it like we want it to appear. Something like that, and let's just right now make a little subtle fade so it's not that excessive in the artwork. Let's put the flow to around 5%, and let's simply paint on the edges to have a nice transition. Alright, I already like this a lot actually, but to make it even better, I'm just going to add this picture of Salah. I'm not going to use the whole picture, but I kind of have an idea, so you just have to follow me on this one and you will see where I would like to go. I only kind of want to use his head, but I want it to be like behind of the stadium, so something like this exactly, kind of. Let's put it a little more to the side. Alright, let's first of all get rid of the areas that we don't want. Let's paint away the areas that we don't want to see using the brush tool and a layer mask. Alright, right now it's a little bit hard right here, so let's select a new soft brush. Let's put the flow to around 5% and let's simply make the transition a little bit more subtle. Also behind of him, so it doesn't integrate with the player in front. Also with his head, I want to see a difference between the front and the back Salah. Alright, and let's right now add a camera raw filter, because I also want to add like the same effect as we did with the stadium. Let's put the clarity almost to the top. Let's put it at around 85. Let's decrease the vibrance and let's increase the saturation a little bit. Right now it's really dark and I don't want it to be this dark, so let's add a lot of shadows. And I really like this already. So let's right now simply add a gradient map to this as well. Let's make it black and white like we did before, and let's simply right now turn this into a smart object as well, and let's simply decrease the opacity to around 40, and let's right now choose the blend mode multiply, and you see where I want to go. This really looks awesome. I'm really glad about this. So for the step that I want to do right now, let's first make a new document from around 2000 to 2000 pixels, and let's simply create a new brush. Let's choose the fill of black, and let's right now draw a nice triangle. This looks perfect. Let's simply select the triangle with holding Command or Control and clicking on this icon. Let's go to Edit and define brush preset, and let's right now make a new brush. Alright, that's everything I had to do. So let's right now search a nice new. So let's right now use a nice new addition. Let's choose topographic map pattern and let's see what we will get. Let's use something without any marking, so I think this will look awesome. Alright, let's right now add that pattern into our artwork. Let's put it behind everything and let's make it as big as our canvas. Right now I want to turn around the colors. Let's do that with holding Command and Control I. Let's right now add the blend mode screen so you can really see what's happening. Right now it's a little bit too much in your face, but let's just simply click the layer mask button and let's turn around our layer mask with Command or Control I. Let's right now select our triangle brush that we used earlier. Let's go into shape dynamics. Let's adjust the size jitter. Let's adjust the roundness. And let's also adjust the angle. And right now we're just going to paint back to the areas that we do want to see. Let's right now paint with black the areas that we don't want to see. And I really like this. I really do like this. Right now it's a little bit too in your face, but we can adjust that. Let's just select the gradient map that we did earlier for the face of Salah. So right now you have the layer mask selected. Let's click on it. Let's click fill and let's fill it with black. So right now it's not as much in your face. Let's also select the shadows that we made underneath him. Let's put it on top of the artwork, or at least on top of the lines. I do want to make a small adjustment. Right now I want to make a couple of them right here as well, and also right there. Alright, I really think this looks awesome. So right now it's time for a camera raw filter. Alright, let's right now click onto filter and let's go to camera raw. And the way you do that is just you go over each light and see what works best. And this is it, guys. This is my final Mo Salah artwork. I hope you guys really like this video, and I also have a nice surprise, because you see what we made from beginning till the end. I do really like it, and it's kind of impressive, of course. And if you guys want access of this PSD file to see exactly what I did, of course you have all the source material because it's all online and you saw how I made it. But if you do want the PSD file, consider subscribing on me on Patreon, where you will get access to this and also some other PSD files and brushes and fonts as well. So be sure to check me out on there as well, and I will see you guys later for another video.